Hello, and welcome to the Minimalist Podcast, a podcast that's here to help you create the life that is designed for you, with your host, Lydia. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the Minimalist Podcast. This podcast is dedicated to anyone who is desiring a life of minimalism. Someone who is looking to find practical ways to rid themselves of clutter, mind, body, and spirit. And also for those who are curious to know more about what minimalism is. I am, introducing this segment here on my channel of Living Life by Design, because I have done a few videos in regards to my transformation, my life changes, and desiring a more practical life. Now, if you're here for any type of professional or scholarly type content, and this is not the podcast for you. This podcast is for everyday people who are living and trying to find a more practical way of living. Now, I believe that this podcast will challenge a lot of people because it's going to challenge you to take a hard look at your life. I'm being very open and honest and authentic, very raw, very vulnerable in sharing parts of my life that led me to this place. Now, if you clicked on this video, it's because you're curious, or because you're already practicing minimalism, or you have a desire to do better. We know that we are all going through some very perilous times right now. And what better way to try to help you get through this hard time and finding ways to balance your life by doing it in a more practical way, by saving money, by stopping this impulse shopping. That's one of our biggest challenges. Let me be very honest with you guys. I love to shop. A lot of people who may view me on this podcast segment will say, there's no way she could be a minimalist based on the things that you might see me wear or things that you might see me do. But here's why. Because prior to, I'll say 2 years ago, I was a shopaholic. I love things. I'm just like any other everyday woman. I love to shop. One of my favorite brands is Coach. I own a lot of Coach products, whether it is jewelry, purses, shoes, sunglasses. That is probably, if you want to say any designer that I like, I love the aesthetics of Coach. And so I do have a lot of pieces that I chose to keep and wear. So even though you may see me wear things that may seem like I shop a lot, I have a lot of clothes, I have a lot of jewelry, but please know I have gotten rid of more than half of the things that I've owned in my life in these last, 10 years of things that I had purchased. I shared on this channel with some of the ladies that I had more than 200 pairs of shoes at one time. I probably have close to 30. Well, I know I have 30. Let's just be real. I have more than that, probably 30. I'll say 35 to 40 pairs of shoes. And I'm still looking to get rid of them. I have a bag of shoes that I have already bagged up to take and to, share with someone who may need it. But I often have a challenge with finding places that I know will basically almost give them away for free or give them away for free, because I don't want anybody to have to spend a lot of money, because we're living in times where we should be able to share the things that we have, our resources, our abundance of things that we don't use with people. Now, I know there are a lot of people that follow me on this channel that probably don't live this life, and I get it. It's nothing wrong with, let me say this, first of all, there's nothing wrong with having things, but I think a lot of people find themselves in a situation where they're living above their means, or they feel that they are in a mouse wheel because they have consumed so many things in their lives that they can't find ways to not worry about how they're going to take care of themselves. A lot of us actually make good money. And let me say this. Let me just stop right here and say this. The economy does suck. And, there is a lot going on, and the cost of living is way just too high. And it is causing people to have to find more practical ways of taking care of themselves and their families. But a lot of us, let's be real, live above our means. And because of that, we have a lot of debt. And you may bring in good money, but because you have this debt, you can't see it. So that was me. I've always had, I'll say, a pretty decent salary, but I had so much debt that consumed me that most of my money was having to go back out when I, was paid because I had so much debt. So yeah, it'll feel as if I don't make any money. And that is a lot of us. Now, that is not to put down or to say that there are people who need a financial increase, because there definitely is. And I want to help you, as I help myself, to understand how we got here and what we need to do better. One of the things we have to do is acknowledge that we're here, and we can't blame other people. Oftentimes, we're in a financial rut because of our own doing, and we have to acknowledge that. And sometimes it's because you realize that you don't need all of these things to have a joyful or happy life. When we get older, I think we become more aware of the things that make us happy, the things that brings us joy, and what we really need. And a lot of us do impulse shop. A lot of that is a mental block or training, because the lack thereof things we had prior to becoming financially stable or independent. A lot of us come from poverty, and our mindset was we want to do better than we did when we were younger, or we want to give our children more than we had. That was my mindset, because I had a struggle as a teenager. I was having to buy my own clothing from the age of 15 on. No one was shopping for me. I had a job and I had to, fend for myself. So one of the things I told myself was, when I had children, was that they were not going to have to suffer and do without things that I had to go through. And not only that, I was going to be able to give more to myself. So when I got to a point where I was doing better, I was making more money, and then I started being able to buy things that I wanted or desired when I was young. And that was in my mind, that I had to be able to have these things to feel like I had succeeded in overcoming that life of poverty. And that can be really hard to acknowledge, but that's my story. And so I want to help those who may be at a crossroad, who may be feeling like, I have too much things, I'm overwhelmed. Maybe it's not even about that, more so it's about organization. Maybe you come home and you feel overwhelmed, and you feel like you don't have storage for things, or you just feel like it's just clutter everywhere. Some people have an addiction to clutter, of just consuming and bringing things in, things that we don't need. How many people impulse shop? My problem that I still need to overcome is impulse shopping when I'm out with people, when I'm with my friends or my family members, and they're shopping. Maybe your friend or one of your siblings say, hey, let's go eat lunch. And then you find yourself at the mall after lunch and they're shopping. So that's one of those triggers for me. Well, let me buy a little something. And the next thing you know, I have 4 or 5 things I've come home with. And oftentimes it's not anything that I need. It's just things that I want. That's taking a hard look at yourself. How many people do that? So what you need to do is understand where your money is going. So I will suggest that you get maybe some type of journal, or keep some type of notebook, so that you can see where your money goes. You can go ahead and write down all the things that you have to pay that's a necessity every month. And then you can keep a list of the things that you just purchased that are not necessities. And it gives you an idea of where your money goes. Is it on food? Is it eating out? Is it shopping? Is it taking trips? One of the reasons why I felt the need to change my life is because I desire to have a more practical life. And I realized that a lot of things that I had in my home was things that I never even looked at within a year. And when you do that, you realize that you have things that just means nothing. Now, a lot of things are sentimental. You may have things that belong to family members who have passed on, or maybe it was something that belongs to your grandmother that's a keepsake, or your grandfather, and you want to keep it. So that would be something that you're not using. It may be something that's sentimental that you might take out and look at or show to others. But a lot of times we have things, shoes, clothing, electronics that just stay stored away, that never see the light of day. We just have. Maybe it was something you had a long time ago that you actually spent a lot of money on, so you don't want to get rid of it because it was, an investment. But at that point, still, you have to ask yourself, why do I have this? Is this something that I need? And you have to make a hard decision sometime to get rid of things. And I'm going to tell you, that was a hard thing for me to do. But I'm going to tell you, once I got on the other side of that, I felt really good about myself. So today is just the introduction of the Minimalist podcast. And I was thinking of a name that I wanted to come up with this segment, that I will be sharing on the channel. But the Minimalist podcast is a name within itself. And I think that would attract people who understand that there is something that I need to do. I need to feel better about where I'm at in life. Maybe you have reached middle age and beyond, and you just want to simplify your life. You desire to have a stress-free, clutter-free, simple life. It could just be that. That's where I'm at. I have a desire to do other things with my life, to give more to others, to travel, and being able to do it lightly and not worry about what I need with, to do with things if I desire to, move away. I've talked about taking a sabbatical, maybe 6 months, a year, maybe 2 years, probably not 2 years, but I say that 6 months to a year is something that I think is reasonable. And I don't want to have to unload a place of things, and I just realized that it just doesn't take a lot for me to have the life that's designed for me. If you're watching this video, it's because you feel the same or you're curious about it. So I'm encouraging you guys to come along on this journey as I share very open and honest things about, why we do these things and how I can help you, how I help myself in making this decision to change my life. So thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time stopping through this channel and watching this podcast, the very first episode, my name is Lydia, and I am a lifestyle coach, motivational coach, meditational coach, helping women 50 years and over to live the life that is designed for them by sharing things, personal and experiences I've had in my life that has brought me to this place of finding joy and peace in my life. And I hope you enjoyed this segment today and come back. And I think I will be sharing on Sundays. I think that is the day that I will be uploading the podcast. I'm trying to decide if I want to do it once a month or twice a month. But make sure you check out the community page, which will give you information on when this podcast will air. And I also will actually do a Q&A to find out questions that you have for me and answers that I can provide for you in regards to how I made this decision, how I'm feeling, where I'm at, and why I have found so much peace in making this decision. So thank you all for watching today. It is coffee break time for me, and I hope you all have a wonderful Sunday and a blessed week. Be safe, and I hope to see you here real soon. Take care. Thank you for watching today. Please join us each third Sunday of the month for another practical, informal conversation on minimalism. Don't forget to tell a friend to tell a friend, and we'll see you real soon.